Skincare really is chemistry in your bathroom, and depending on what ingredients or what products you're mixing from different lines could mean that you're rendering them useless. Or you could actually mix ingredients so that they penetrate deeper and do more for you and your skin. In today's video, we're going to talk about the basics of what you should and shouldn't mix, when to use them, and what to know. But first we got a little hydration in the nation of scientific exploration. Let's first talk about salicylic acid because it is so common in acne ingredients. Salicylic acid is a BHA acid, meaning that it is fat soluble. So this means that while it might be helpful for acne-prone skin, if you use it with oils or products that leave an oily film on your face, it might stop the salicylic acid from working and actually break it down before it has a chance to get into your skin. This is why salicylic acid is helpful for people with oily skin, because it breaks down the oil, the glue that holds your skin cells together, so that they can exfoliate off naturally. But if you're using an oil-based product with your salicylic acid, the sale might be working on that oil instead of the oil in your skin and in your pores where you want to get it out of. So if you're using a salicylic acid, try not to use them with any oily based products. Use them differently or make sure that you're using the salicylic acid first. Additionally, adapalene gel, which is the generic name for Differin, does not mix with salicylic acid well either. When these two get together, they start to share some of their bonds and they become a little bit useless. That being said, adapalene gel does pair wonderfully with benzoyl peroxide. And if you've ever used Epiduo, that's actually what that is. Adapalene plus benzoyl. Done. Benzoyl peroxide works by having a chemical reaction on your face when it comes into contact with heat. Because benzoyl peroxide does break a bond and create some free radicals, they can actually bind to retinol and to vitamin C and make them useless. So if you're going to use these products, use them at different times a day. Additionally, retinol and acids could be a little bit too much for sensitive skin. If you are really prone to something like eczema, if you do get a lot of skin flushing or rosacea, you might want to go slow on the retinol and the acids, or use them at different times a day. It's also best to build up your skin's tolerance to these products, meaning you start with a very low dose or a low percentage of retinol or an acid, and you can slowly build up over time. Back when I was in aesthetics school, I started with glycolic acid 1%, and by the time I was done, I was at 40%, and it didn't burn, sting, or tingle my face at all. Now, if that isn't bioadaptivity, I don't know what is. Vitamin C is amazing, but unfortunately, it's also really unstable. That's why I always warn you to look for vitamin C with a light-sealed bottle. If light can get into that vitamin C, it is absolutely useless, and you shouldn't waste your money. But if you're using a good vitamin C that is in a dark bottle or a light-sealed container, the products you're also using it with might do some harm. Like we just said, benzoyl peroxide can oxidize the vitamin C and make it useless. If you use vitamin C with a retinoid, either retinol, retinal, or even retinoic acid, it can really dry out the skin, so you might want to be careful. Additionally, using vitamin C with other acids can destabilize it. So while vitamin C is great, it's also kind of a finicky thing. And if you have the option to use it, go for it, but make sure you know what you're using before and after as well. Vitamin C and retinol actually work best in different environments. Vitamin C itself is more acidic, and it works better in acidic conditions, whereas retinol works a little bit more around a pH of 5.5, which is pretty close to what our skin is naturally. As we know, to neutralize an acid, you mix it with a base, or to neutralize a base, you mix it with an acid. And if that's happening on your face with vitamin C and retinol, you're basically wasting your money and you could be irritating your skin. So it's best to use vitamin C and retinols at different times of day. That being said, vitamin C pairs wonderfully with vitamin E. When they're used together, they can actually penetrate the skin deeper, and some studies have shown that they might even have a very slight SPF benefit. Not a replacement for sunscreen, but a little bit of a boost. Not to mention they can be really great for hydration, for scarring, and for pigmentation. You might have heard of niacinamide. It's a hydrating B vitamin, but when you mix it with vitamin C, again, it can cause some issues in the skin. When niacinamide and vitamin C get together, they start to share and kind of shake up their bonds, and this turns the end product into niacin. For some people who have sensitive skin, you might want to avoid this because it can cause some red flushing and irritation of the skin. This usually goes away, but it's a little bit unfortunate and uncomfortable. The best bet is to use your niacinamide in the morning and to use your vitamin C in the evening. Next, let's talk about that collagen. Again, we're going to have a skin science episode on all of these ingredients separately so that you know the details of how they work, but specifically collagen is a huge buzzword. It can be taken internally through a pill or a supplement, but a lot of people have been applying it to their skin. You better hit subscribe and the notification bell button so you don't miss the video on collagen when it does come out. But what you need to know today is do not mix that collagen with benzoyl peroxide. Collagen is a protein. It's a bunch of amino acids wound up together in this beautiful scientific structure. It's a beautiful polypeptide chain, and all of these are held up through coils and hydrogen molecules. These hydrogen molecules are the reason that this collagen protein is held together. But guess what happens when it comes into contact with benzoyl peroxide? Benzoyl peroxide starts to break it down. Again, the way that benzoyl peroxide works is by having a chemical reaction. A bond breaks, and it releases a free radical in the skin. This can kill bacteria, but this electron is hungry for a partner, and it wants to bind to anyone. Unfortunately, the hydrogen atoms that are holding that collagen together are really susceptible to this evil electron. And that electron can go in there, pretty much steal the hydrogen, and cause the collagen structure to fall apart, meaning that it is useless within your skin. Benzoyl peroxide can destroy collagen, elastin, and the bonds within them. So if you're using them in skincare, skip it and use them at different times a day. You don't want to be wasting your money. Now that being said, the benzoyl peroxide that you get over the counter or in a prescription is usually pretty weak. Over the counter, it's about 2.5%, and if you get a prescription, it might be 10, 20, or even up to 60. While you should not be mixing this benzoyl peroxide with your collagen-based skincare, the good thing is that this benzoyl peroxide usually doesn't have the same effect to the collagen and elastin within our skin. So even if you are using benzoyl peroxide, it's probably going to maintain your skin's integrity. Again, just don't mix these two together on the surface of the skin, because that's when they start bonding and the electron transfer and the hydrogen goes whee! And then the collagen protein is cleaved into little peptides, and basically it means a waste of your money. Let's also talk about hyaluronic acid. It's an amazing compound that's really hydrating. Depending on if you're getting pure hyaluronic acid or a salt of hyaluronic acid, it can hold multiple times its weight in water. But here's the problem. If you're using it with hydrating ingredients, you're good to go. But if you're using it with dehydrating ingredients, you're actually destroying your skin. Hyaluronic acid finds water and holds onto it, which means if you put this on your skin and there's moisture in the air and you apply a moisturizer, it locks that in and keeps it inside your epidermis where it needs to be. But unfortunately, if it's dry outside and if you're using other drying products such as a prescription retinoid or benzoyl peroxide, hyaluronic acid has no water to hold on to because there's none available. So what does it do? It actually steals water from your skin, drying your skin out and making the conditions worse. So when it comes to hyaluronic acid, avoid drying products. Go ahead and use all those moisturizers that you can get your hands on. Hyaluronic acid usually only comes at 4%. If it's anything above that, it's literally just a big sodium salt rock. So the good thing is that you can't do a ton of damage, but if you find that you use hyaluronic acid and your skin starts to feel a little bit drier, consider the air in your environment and what other products you're using before and after. There's also peptides and copper. If you remember, amino acids turn into peptides, which turn into proteins. But these peptides are small enough that they can penetrate really deep, some even to the dermis. Copper has been shown to help some peptides penetrate deeper, but the truth is that the science is kind of finicky, and I feel it needs to be tested a little bit more, which is why we're going to do a future skin science episode on everything you need to know. For now, your AHA acids and copper are usually a good mix. The AHAs, such as glycolic acid, can help bring that copper a little bit deeper into the skin, where it can be really beneficial for things such as acne scars or collagen production. So if you're struggling with some severe acne scarring and those marks that are left over like I am, especially here on my cheeks, you might want to explore some copper peptides and some of those AHA acids. Try them together and see if they work for you. Another thing peptides pair perfectly with is retinol. Ooh, peptides pair perfectly. That sits pretty precisely on my palate. Try saying that 5 times fast. When it comes to peptides and retinol, these work really well together. And it's because the peptides can actually soothe some of the burn or the irritation of the retinol or the retinaldehyde. Generally, the peptides and the retinol don't bother each other, which is also a huge bonus. Lastly, what about copper and acids? This is again a little bit interesting. We know what happens in chemistry when copper is introduced to an acid, but does the same stuff happen on our skin? Logic would say maybe yes, but there's a lot of other things happening within our face that might change how that reaction happens. In the real world, copper, a metal, dissolves in sulfuric acid, and it creates different compounds or byproducts. And it leaves the copper with a number 3 ion. Copper metal can also dissolve when it's introduced to nitric acid. And although copper as a metal can do many amazing things, when it comes to the skin, we don't know all the details. Because copper and AHA acids such as glycolic acid or lactic acid can be so beneficial for acne scars and potentially help bring that copper peptide a little bit deeper, I would say that they're safe. But again, this is something that should be explored. Don't take my word for it. Check the resources, check the references, and educate yourself, because knowledge is power. So now that you're ready to be a chemist in your bathroom, I want you to turn over those labels and make sure that you're mixing your skincare ingredients properly to make them work for you, not to make them work against you and your wallet. Do you remember how to read skincare labels? We did a skin science episode on it a couple weeks back, and you can click here to watch it. Remember to also use those motor neurons to tickle that like button and subscribe button and the notification bell. Skin science happens every single Saturday at 11 a.m. So in the meantime, stay hydrated, and I can't wait to see you next Saturday at 11 on Skin Science.